South Koreans took to the streets today, objecting to the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, also known as THAAD. Nearly 400 people showed up to protest the U.S. missile defense system. RT's Jacqueline Vuga has the story.
It's reported that there are around 400 demonstrators there who were protesting the deployment of 4 additional rocket launchers of the U.S. missile defense system, and they clashed with the police. Now, the protesters reportedly tried to break into the administrative building of the U.S. base, but were unsuccessful. Local media has reported that dozens of residents and several police officers, in fact, have been injured in those clashes, and they have been taken to a nearby hospital. A number of arrests have also been made at the demonstrations. Around 8,000 policemen were sent to the area in the south of the country near the future site of the rocket launchers, some 300 kilometers southeast of the capital. Now, America's deployment of hardware includes aircraft carrier strike groups, anti-missile ships, as well as fighter jets and helicopters. Now, the protests follow an announcement by the South Korean Defense Ministry to add the rocket launchers designed to protect South Korea from the threat of North Korea. But South Korean citizens have long objected to their installment, not wanting America to increase their military presence in the country, fearing the move could move to only further escalate the crisis and likely make them a primary target should Pyongyang decide to attack. And they are, of course, not alone in their disapproval of THAAD's deployment in South Korea. Both China and Russia have strenuously opposed the installment, viewing the move as undermining their security interests. Now, this past Sunday, North Korea tested an underground hydrogen bomb, prompting the speed up of the THAAD program, which the U.S. will consider a win as they've long wanted more control in South Korea. But the move itself is clearly leaving few others happy.
The Russian president says sanctions are mounting and pressure will not solve the North Korean crisis as Pyongyang feels it's been backed into a corner. Vladimir Putin made the comments after speaking with South Korea's leader at the Eastern Economic Forum. Daniel Hawkins has the details.
This forum is primarily a place for business and trade interests to find common ground. But as you say, there's only been one thing really hanging over the forum, one key thing on the agenda, and that's been the Korean crisis, the crisis on the Korean Peninsula. And President Putin and Moon Jae-in of South Korea have now concluded their talks. They've done a joint press conference where Putin, again, as Russia's position has been over the last weeks and months, that diplomacy and negotiation was the only way long-term to solve this crisis. Take a listen.
It's obvious that the Korean Peninsula problem can't just be solved using sanctions and pressure. It's impossible. Let's not be driven by emotion and push North Korea into a corner.
Now, it's evident that there are some differences between the South Korean and the Russian position here. The South Korean government, of course, do favor a strengthening of UN sanctions against North Korea, particularly targeting their oil sector, something that will very much be seen as an escalation in this crisis. The Russians, of course, have favored diplomacy and negotiation long term, and that still seems to be the case. Aside from that, it's very much business as usual here at the forum. Quite literally, there's delegations here from over 50 countries, several thousand people in attendance here, hoping to sign trade and business deals. Last year, that equaled about $32 billion, so very much significant in the Asia-Pacific region.